And then, of course, as the DODEA schools grow, and as the Guam Department of Education schools grow, they're really going to be drawing from the same pool of people who are certificated personnel. Of course, DODEA schools are going to be able to recruit from other places with greater ease than the Guam Department of Education, but it's no secret that there's some of the more experienced teachers are moving over to the DODEA school system. So this is something that needs to be fleshed out. It needs something to be worked on, because, you know, sometimes and this is just speaking for me personally as Robert Underwood, not as Narissa Underwood. Let me make that clear. For me, you know, the whole origin of the DODEA schools is still something that is difficult for me to comprehend. And so as a consequence of that, it makes it very, very difficult and kind of a somewhat emotional topic to deal with that, and then to try to figure out, well, you know, the DODEA schools are here because of a number of things. They're likely to be here for a long period of time. So how do we provide the DODEA schools with good teachers, and more importantly, how do we provide the Guam Department of Education with good teachers? And just as an aside too, as we talk about workforce preparation, and as we talk about the role of various educational institutions, you know, and I've said this before in an open session with Dr. Okada, the educational institution that has the largest responsibility over people for the longest period of time is the Guam Community College. You know, it used to be said quite often that the average person changes their job 7 times in the course of their lifetime. That number has gone up to over 20 times. Young people today will change their jobs. You can't just say, well, we're going to train them to be construction workers and think they're going to be construction workers forever. They might be doing something else. Or if they're going to be teachers, they may be teachers for only 5 years. They may do something else. And it's not that they may do something else. We know, looking at it now, that they will do something else. And that process of retraining and that process of retooling is primarily a function of the Guam Community College. So there's going to be a lot of activities ahead, and of course there's going to be a lot of activities ahead for the University of Guam. But that challenge, if we don't meet that challenge head on how to provide a strong professional cadre of teachers for Guam's basic school system, which is the Guam Department of Education, K through 12, none of these other activities up here are going to work. University of Guam's not going to work well. Guam Community College is not going to work well. Guam Trades Academy is not going to shore up every deficiency. That's why the resources and the attention and the development of professional teachers has to be focused on the Guam Department of Education.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Underwood. Okay, Dr. Okada.
Certainly, with every increase in population, there are some challenges. Challenges specifically identified for the community colleges, although many people think that the community college needs to be something for everybody, we just don't have the capacity to do that. We have to identify and prioritize what is it that we can take on and how we're going to sustain a program once we develop it. So again, I go back to program review. Program review clearly identifies what is it that the institution is doing, what is it that the departments are doing, what information do we have, what assessments have been done to determine what needs to be our priorities, and how do we properly fund that. Of course, limited resources is always another area that becomes a challenge for any type of increase in services, increase of building capacity, increase of physical capacity, human capacity at the college. But we have to prioritize. We have to identify what are we going to do, how are we going to do it, how are we going to sustain it, and stay on track. So assessment for us has been something that we've been nurturing over many, many years, and taking that assessment and doing something with the results. Not just assessing it just to assess it and tell you something. We got to take those results and move it to the next level. One of the other challenges we do have is that we don't know how many and by when, in what occupational area you need your workforce. And so we're trying our best to build programs as fast as we can. It's not an easy process. We have to identify funding for facilities, funding for equipment. We've been successful to some extent, and we've been having some challenges in other areas. But again, it all goes back to having a plan. You've got to have a plan. You can't just shoot from the hip. You got to have a plan, and so we've been planning, and we've taken our plans and moving it to the next level. As far as the issue with DODEA, we've been very fortunate that in the past couple of professional developments that DODEA has had, the community college has been invited. So we now have an opportunity to see what happens in the DODEA system. We know that they offer some career and technical education in DODEA systems, and so we are hoping to collaborate with them to offer expertise in some areas that we have, and maybe for them to share their expertise in areas that we may be lacking. So that's the issue or opportunity that we have right now with working with the DODEA system.
Okay, Dr. Johnston?
Well, our approach is a little bit different. Building the DODEA schools, somebody's got to build it. I'm hoping it's our students. and getting them involved. They just finished building the high school by Naval Hospital. I know some of our students were involved in that, and some of our instructors were involved in that, and we're really proud about that. The fact that somebody had to build this, even this hotel. Let's get as much of the workforce that wants to do it involved and engaged in that, and that's what we've been focused on. Where we get our instructors is a little bit different in the fact that our instructors are practitioners in the field. I used to teach first aid and CPR, but I've never had to give it. There was one close call where the guy started to breathe, and I didn't have to give it. But I've got another instructor that teaches first aid and CPR that's an ambulance driver. Who do you think is going to be the better instructor? My opinion is that individual, because he does it on a regular recurring basis. And so taking that concept, we're bringing it into the classroom. We want electricians to teach our electrical classes. We want carpenters to teach our carpentry classes. HVAC technicians to teach the HVAC technician classes. And so we've been bringing those individuals in to teach our classes, bringing the industry back into the classroom, helping share the knowledge, and watching both the students grow and the instructors grow. As we all know, to teach is to learn twice. And getting these individuals that have been working on the field for such a long period of time coming into the classroom, we watched them also grow. We had one of our instructors a couple months ago apply to take the Master Electrician exam, and he's been teaching the classes for us for several years now. And I asked him after he passed the exam, did teaching help? And he goes, absolutely, because it brought all that knowledge to the forefront. So we're watching both our students grow and our instructors grow as we build up this community. Again, our focus is building both the competence and the confidence of this community, one person at a time. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Hawthorne?
Yeah, I would just like to add one other thing, that we do have a huge challenge at the university in finding really good doctorally prepared faculty. And I hear, in the short time I've been here, I've heard from many people how hard it is to recruit people from the mainland to come here to teach. My position is that we have to find ways at the university to bring doctoral programs, not that we necessarily deliver at the university because we're not accredited for that, but to bring doctoral programs to the island so that local people can get doctorally prepared and be the faculty for the future of the island. And I certainly hope that the School of Ed will be a prime player in helping make that happen.
Okay, thank you very much. Kathleen? Okay.
Good afternoon. I stayed here in particular about education because I'm very passionate about education. And I agree and I applaud all of you up there because what you're doing is the right thing for our island and our community. As Dr. Underwood stated in his last comment about he needs GDOE needs to be able to teach our children so they can be able to afford a higher education, be able to go to GCC or UOG.